What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath251 here with a bit of a special video here. It's one of my first official top 5 lists. Yes, I know I did do the 5 reasons you shouldn't level a fucking warrior, but that one was more for comedic purposes than the actual list. Now, I started to research different subjects for World of Warcraft that would make a great top 5 video, and this one actually seemed to pop out for me the most. This is top 5 ways that Blizzard can improve the World of Warcraft. I mean, we all have our own opinions about this, but I conducted extensive research on what people really want out of Blizzard to improve the World of Warcraft. So this is a in-depth research list. So take nothing I say with a grain of salt. And everything is basically what people want. Okay, so now let's just jump right into this list. And we're starting with the least important. Number 5, the environment. Blizzard has already had a good start on this one with the battlegrounds having inclement weather. For those of you who are like me and tend to avoid PvP, some battlegrounds now have fog where you can see only a few feet in front of you. This makes it difficult for you to find your way around or find enemies. You can get an item from the Darkmoon Fair that turns night into true night, but this isn't the same. Blizzard needs to introduce more severe weather, such as true night, rain, fog, things that really affect the actual visual environment. I don't know about the rest of you, but if I was going through Val-Shara during true night, especially during the nightmare areas, I think it would be so fucking badass, and also pretty creepy as shit. Number 4, zone clutter. Now, I'm not saying that the zones in Legion are bad, but they are full of just garbage that gets in your way. This problem started in WoD, and it's actually gotten much worse in Legion. What I'm talking about, for those of you who really haven't experienced this much, is when you're riding along, running, or even flying in a zone, and then some random-ass piece of junk just stops you dead in your tracks. And it's especially bad because you can't just like slightly go to the right or left and just like move around it. No, you have to stop, back straight up, and then move around it. This is also really infuriating when you're running from a group of mobs that you just rode your mount through, and a stick or a rock, not even a foot tall, brings you and your apparently 700-pound mount to a dead stop. Then the mobs catch up to you, dismount you with one little baby little hit, and then you just have to fight and kill them all. Even flying isn't safe from this, as anyone who's done a Val-Shara Legion invasion will tell you. The zone is so dense with trees, you can become lost very easy in the air, and not even realize that you aren't moving because you're stuck on a tree branch. Number 3, player housing. Oh, come on, you all knew this was going to be on the list. Now, while we did get this in WoD, sort of, they made it too important. There was way too much emphasis on the garrisons, and there was too much work to do in them. We actually didn't really have any reason to go out and do anything else. We just basically just sat on our asses in our garrisons all day, telling our followers to go out on adventures for us. What Blizzard needs for players is something that's smaller, but is still somewhat important. Something that is aesthetically unique. Not like the garrisons, which had very limited customization. Maybe even give it a little bit of a practical use. For example, if we have like a player house, we don't need a whole mine, a garden, a fishing pond, and several other stores just to have that. No, just give us like an area in the back, maybe, like a backyard, where we can set up a garden to grow some herbs, or you could have something set up so, like, say, a geomancer or something raises minerals from the ground, so you get, like, maybe 5 herbs or 5 nodes of minerals a day or something like that, maybe. Not something that would, like, totally supply you, but just, you know, just help you out. Perhaps you could even set it up so that we could even start opening shops where we could sell items that we've gotten from all the BOEs and some of the resources we collected. People could see your shop on the group finder in the custom groups, and then they would just join your little raid group, and then they could come into your shop and buy stuff that you're selling. Now, we all know that There's so many things they could do with player housing, and there's a lot that other games have done with player housing, but I think if Blizzard would just get some of these ideas and implement it, it would really improve WoW. And speaking of customization, we are actually moving into the next number. Number 2, customization. I think we can all agree that this is something WoW desperately needs. And I'm not just talking about appearances. We have all that. You can change your hair and your face and your armor looks and everything. You've got your transmogs and everything. Hell, there's even a transmog fashion show coming up. But who wouldn't like to have something a little more interactive? Like, who would like to start a mercenary guild made up of races of both factions? And you could actually be hired out by other guilds so that you can do quests or battlegrounds or something like that, or raids, and just have orcs fighting alongside humans because they really don't give a shit about the whole faction thing, which would be good for people who actually don't give a crap about the whole faction thing. Maybe, or you could even customize your abilities better. Maybe a Windwalker monk could use some Brewmaster moves to improve their survivability in solo play. Or maybe a player would like to be able to somehow play as a thief so they could actually rob people out on the road or something like that. And then, in contrast, you could have some people put a bounty on someone so that they actually hunt that player down and kill them for a gold reward. Characters need to be playable in several different modes. Like, you have a rogue, and they have 3 different DPS specs, and pretty much they play a little bit differently, but they're all the same. I mean, what if you want to play a rogue that's really a thief, or really a ninja, or really a pirate, or really an assassin? Something like that. Something that allows us to play our characters differently for each person, and actually make them feel more like they are yours, and not just the typical best build that was copied off of Icy Veins. And now the number 1 thing that Blizzard needs to do to improve the World of Warcraft. This is something that a lot of people are really going nuts about. And that is engineering. Engineering ties into number 2. Number 2. In the old days of vanilla and a little bit after, engineering allowed any class to add abilities and items to their inventory that really altered their ability to fight, improving DPS and even their utility, even allowing them to do a little bit of healing if they wanted to. Now, engineering is the same every damn expansion. Everything has the same type of items. You get crafted helmets, which can only be worn by people who have engineering, so basically you're just making one for yourself. But by the time you get the materials necessary to make the damn thing, you've already replaced it with a much better helmet from a raid. You also get a standard explosive, which does a decent amount of damage at the beginning of the expansion, but because you can only use them once in a fight, they have a 1-minute cooldown, which isn't bad, but the cooldown doesn't even start until you're no longer aggroed in a fight. Especially later in the expansion, this makes the item pretty much damn useless. Also, you get a bunch of other items that you can make, which are completely fucking useless, even though they seem interesting, but Blizzard has put so many fucking restrictions on them, they can't even be used. One of the examples is pissed off a lot of people recently, is the Goblin Glider. People used to use Goblin Gliders inside of dungeons and raids and battlegrounds to escape from players or do something. It just added a nice bit of utility to the game, and it was fun. But now Blizzard has made it so that you can't use a Goblin Glider in any instance ever. This makes it pretty much damn useless for anything except overworld travel. And now that we have flying, it's not even good for that anymore. But the real problem is when you see the newest, most powerful thing that engineering has to offer, and that is the Reeves combat mode. Okay, so obviously this means you get to ride a giant fucking robot and use it to destroy things. Okay, that is awesome. The awesomeness seems to be even greater when you realize that Blizzard is sending you on a fetch quest all over the old expansions and making you go through a grinding hell to get all of the parts you need to make this thing. It took me 6 months to make this thing, and I was hitting Siege of Orgrimmar 3 times a week just to get one part that I needed. Once I eventually got everything and I put the thing together and I activated it, it was really fucking awesome. It would just look so cool. You see all the badass abilities it has. Its only damaging ability is the ability that lets you throw your standard explosives. However, unlike the item, which has a 1-minute cooldown and only can be used once in a fight, this item can be spammed for pretty damn good fucking damage. On top of that, you can also deploy mobile turrets, which basically just shoot your enemies. You can also deploy up to 2 of them at a time, considering it has a 10-second cooldown, and these things last 15 seconds. So this also improves your DPS. You can also use a gun pack, which gives you good escape options if you're fighting a player, and this thing can even heal itself for a significant amount of healing damage. However, then Blizzard and reality comes around and kicks you right in the fucking dick. Here you are with this huge badass weapon, and you find out this weapon is completely worthless. You can't use it anywhere at all. You can activate it only in the open world. However, you can't use it for anything. If you use this thing to defeat a world boss in a quest, you will not get credit for it. If you use this thing to complete a world quest, you will not get credit for it. If you use this thing to complete a standard quest, you will not get credit for it. The only thing that you would even conceivably use this thing for, maybe, is in PvP on the open world. You can't even use it in a battleground. You can't use it in a dungeon or raid, which is somewhat understandable, but I still don't like it. I would just love to have this thing, considering all the damn trouble I went through to make it. But you can't use it. And this is after Blizzard swore up and down that they were going to stop nerfing engineering. Instead, they gave engineering like the biggest fucking nerf it's had since Warlords actually started, because they took away a ton of the shit we made back in Mists of Pandaria. So the number one thing that Blizzard needs to do to improve WoW is to either stop nerfing engineering and rebuff it, or just get rid of the damn thing altogether and give us the Tinker class. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the Tinker class is something we could all agree needs to come. I believe it was the number 2 requested class, right behind Demon Hunters. Okay, so that was my first top 5 list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. Suggest what other things in WoW or games or anything like that you think I should do a top 5 or top 10 list on. And I will see you guys all next time. Tune in every day for new content, and bye-bye.